All right, for the first part of segment 1 today, I'm going to try to find this thing called energy. If you're watching this video later, just had a 24-hour live stream yesterday, and here I am today. Going to talk to you about Forbidden Lands. We're going to explore, and we're going to journey, and we are going to try to survive in the Forbidden Lands. And we're going to talk about why I love it so much, and I mean that honestly. I don't think it is the best system ever created, but I think it is the best bang for buck. It is the best balance between hand-waving survival. Oh, I don't want to worry about that. Well, guess what? Adventuring is tough work, and it has a survival element to it. And there are trials and tribulations as you're adventuring out there. At the same time, I don't want a spreadsheet simulator. Some of you might, but I don't. And I really believe that Forbidden Lands has the best balance of that. So in just a moment here, we're going to figure out why I believe that way. We believe that role-playing games should take place in fantastic worlds. The focus of the game should be on role-playing and having a good time. The core values of #RPGate and any good tabletop group are escapism, not representation, entertainment over activism, and natural, organic inclusion, not forced diversity. The charity we support is the Wounded Warrior Project, a national, nonpartisan organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Please refer to the description below for the link to where you can make your hopefully tax-deductible donation. Join us Thursday and Saturday evenings on twitch.tv/Legion of Myth to watch Heathen Dog and his team of dirty casuals play multiplayer games for your mockery and enjoyment. Here on our YouTube channel, you can watch these game-related segments live every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time, or check out the Friday Night Chill stream where our panel of guests opine, comment, and editorialize on the TTRPG hobby as a whole. Please like this video and leave a comment to appease the algorithm gods. Share this video on your favorite social media platforms to help us peer out of the shadows cast over us. And if you have not done so already, please subscribe to Legion of Myth for more tabletop RPG goodness. All right, boom, there we go. There's our Forbidden Lands book. Wow, it's actually bigger. Oh, that's weird. It's bigger on the presenting screen than it is in front of me. That's very odd. All right, whatever. All right, so we are going to talk about journeying. That's the name of the chapter. Where is it? There it is. Journeys. Right there. It's just a few pages, but it's got a lot of stuff that, helps you survive. And then the next video will be the stronghold, is we're going to talk about establishing a stronghold, which you Dungeons & Dragons players think, what, you can do it before 9th level? Heck yeah, you can. And it's a team effort. And you really, really want to. So let's hit the journeys. All right, forget the beginning part. We're going to start with the map. Now,
wait, how does this equate with, say, Oregon Trail level of difficulty?
It's it's not. I mean, theoretically, that can happen, but no, it's not that bad. The worst that's going to happen is you're going to get a bad die roll one day, and you might have a day delay. That's the worst I've ever seen. Now, okay, let me say, I already said the word once, but I'll say it again. Theoretically, you could have a bunch of bad die rolls in a row, and that means you guys suck, but because those things can happen. You can just, statistics say you could eventually just have a bunch of bad die rolls, right?
Should have hired a guide, but okay.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there's a class for this. I forget, this Pathfinder. What's the name of the class? I forget. But there's a class that specializes in this. If you don't take it, that's an issue. So, yeah. Anyway, and of course there are cities and that you can come across in villages, and there's other ways to do so. But survival is an element of the game. Now, you can probably barely see it. I don't know. Can I zoom in? I can zoom in. But each one of these hexes, and I'm not going to keep going back and forth to the map. But let's take a look. You got some hills over here. You got a nice lake up there. You got some swampy stuff here. Looks like a adventure location or city there. You got some trees, so forest, right? Mountains. You get the idea. It's a map, right? So around the edge, you're blocked either by an ocean or by these mega mountains up here. So once you're in Forbidden Lands, you're stuck. Can I go back south where we came from? No, the Iron Lock, is not, it's a one-way door. You can go in, but you're not coming back out. And, we kind of talked about a little bit about that at the beginning. We did video number 1 way back in the day. So, anywho, I'm not going to keep coming back to this, but this gives you an idea that the map tells you what type of terrain is there. And yes, this actually leads to a different realm that is an expansion, so. So the map of Forbidden Lands found in the game box is the focus of the game when you and your fellow adventurers are out on journey. The map is divided into hexagons, which are used to measure distances and govern movement. One hexagon is 10 kilometers across. The Forbidden Lands are divided into 10 types of terrain. Each hexagon on the map has a certain type of terrain that is used to determine how difficult it is to move in the hexagon, as well as what kind of random encounters can be faced. Of course, you can set up your own encounters if you want as well. Rivers are not a type of terrain themselves, but function as borders between hexes.
Really?
Okay. Now, yes, there are other. I didn't unfold them, but there are other maps. I have the maps to Bitter Reach and Blood March. So the maps are different. So, like for me, I have 3 full maps that I can use. They come with stickers. They're meant to be used, and you're meant to buy multiple maps. After you run a campaign, that map is done. You've marked on it. You put little stickers on it. You've done your thing. And then if you want to play it again, you just buy another map. It's like $2. I forget what the price is, but it's cheap. You buy another one, and you start over. And the reason for that is because every time you play it, it's different. You might have an adventure site in this hex, and the next time you play it ends up being way over here in this hex. That's just the way it can turn out. And that adds to the replayability of your campaigns if you want to stay specifically in the Forbidden Lands. Again, you could do the Bitter Reach, and you could do Blood March. Is that what it's called, Blood March? It's going to kill me. If you want a completely different map experience. So, where are we going here? So, high mountains. Those are what I showed around the edge. Hexagons with the terrain type high mountain block movement. It is impossible, that is a literal word, to move into these hexagons. And so they form a barrier around the Forbidden Lands. The Iron Lock standing across the pass to Alderland. Remember, the humans moved from Alderland down south into the Forbidden Lands, either because they want money or because they want, their prisoners or whatever. There's also a barrier that blocks movement completely. It's partially true. You can go through, you can't come back. And there you go. There's some pencil art. All right. One of the issues with this, it's not really an issue with the book. It actually works in layout, but it doesn't work when I'm trying to describe it to you, is most of these charts are before we get to the part that's going to talk about them. But so we'll come back to this chart in just a moment.
Well, but it is good to remember this chart. Look at it. Terrain type, movement type through that terrain, what possible pluses or minuses to foraging and hunting.
Mm-hmm.
This is important for later. So it's good to just see this.
Absolutely. So, yes, I am a madman, Eric C. You can hear it in my voice right now. The Still Mist is a mythical place in the elven domains of the north. Whatever hides in there is unknown to the humans of Forbidden Lands, as well as what lies beyond it. Hint, 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 expansion. Okay. Quarters of the day. During journeys, the day is divided into 4 quarter days, used to measure time in the game. Now, I cannot for the life of me find my laminated copies of this. I have a laminated version of this that I have front back on 2 different pages, and I use a Rapidograph, oh my god, I use a VisiVis pen to write on them. This is something I created for my games, where it shows, don't worry about, you don't have to read it all, it's because we're going to go through all this, but it shows what's going on during that quarter day. So I know what every character is doing. I just have them scribble it down, or they tell me and I scribble it down, so I know exactly what they're doing. Oh, you're hiking, you're foraging, you're the one doing lead the way, which we'll all talk about in a moment. So I created these for my games. I suggest you do something like this, yourself. I said mine are laminated. I can't find them. It's weird. So during journeys, the days divided into 4 quarter days, used to measure time in the game. Morning, day, evening, and night. And if you look really closely in there, if you can see it, this one says morning. So I just flip the lamination over, and then I have day, and then, yada, yada. At the start of every quarter day, each adventurer must choose one activity for the quarter day. No more than one activity can be performed at the same time, unless specified otherwise. Most activities can be performed by several PCs, but for a few activities, a single adventurer must be chosen. The various activities are explained in detail over the course of the coming pages. And that's a very important thing, because when you're like, wait a second, shouldn't it all be right here? It's not all right here. Okay. And there's a reason for that, because it really will make sense as we're going through it, that it kind of lumps different aspects together. So hike. Basically, that's moving on. That's going from one hex to the next. They call it hike in this game. All right. You can call it adventure, you can call it whatever you want. It's called hike. Must be done by all adventurers if you want to proceed on the game map. Now, Heathen Dog, did I just take away your agency if I said, oh my God, you all have to do this or none of you can do this?
A little bit, because Bob is a dick and I want to leave him behind.
Great. You know what you did?
What?
You can do that. Bob's now out of the game, or he's on another adventure. This is meant to be put. So this is when you split the party, like as in the Lord of the Rings. Hey, we're going this way. We're going to Mountain Doom. Hey, we're going to go fight some big troll guys or whatever. When you split the party up, you can do that. Other than that, if you want to move a hex for it now, theoretically, could you say, hey, you need to get a message out to that guy over there, and you got to go grab your horse. It's all plains. You're going to be faster. Go, 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 go. Yes, you can do that. But you've separated the party. That's all this means.
Okay.
So, all right. Lead the way can be combined with hike, but can only be done by one adventurer in the group. We'll see why in a moment. Helping is not allowed. Basically, you have one scout. One person that's pathfinding, right?
Go get him, Ray.
Exactly. Keep watch can be combined with hike, but can only be done by one adventurer in the group. Helping is not allowed. We'll talk about all this later. Forage can be done by several adventurers at the same time. Helping is allowed. You could have two people try to pick berries. And, again, helping, we talked about helping when we talked about skills, I think, in video 3. So it's that rule set. The best person rolls, add one for the helper. Hunt can be done by several adventurers at the same time. Helping is allowed. Now, I think I'm going to read it in a moment here, but if two people go hunting in different directions, you don't get help then.
No.
This is if two people are hunting in the same area. Fish requires a river or lake. Really?
Makes sense.
It's just funny that they have to put rules like that in there. Can be done by several adventurers. Helping is allowed. We all sit on the boat and fish.
Fish. Yep.
Make camp. Only one adventurer may roll, but helping is allowed. Rest can be done by several adventurers at the same time. No, you all can't sleep. Only one person can sleep.
Only one person can sleep at once.
Rest is different than sleep. But if you remember when we talked about health and recovery, rest is an important phase of that. Rest means you can do minimal effort. You can't be in combat. You can't be doing anything strenuous. But this is how you get back all of your base dice. All of your ability score damage. Not critical damage, but your ability score damage. So rest can be done by several adventurers at the same time and occurs automatically when you sleep. Sleep can be done by several adventurers at the same time. When you sleep, you automatically rest at the same time. Great. But there is a difference between these two, because rest means you're up, you're out and about, you're taking a leak, you're maybe sharpening your sword methodically or whatever. Sleep means you're out. And explore. This one's a special. Exploring means you've come across an adventure site or you've come across something that you want to dig into more. Obviously, this is where your adventures take place. The actual adventures take place. Can be done by several adventurers at the same time. Because you can have 3 people, 5 people, whatever, that dive into a cave or a dungeon or check out a lost, ruin or whatever, right? So digging in the graveyard, I don't know. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's look at what hiking is. Do you have any questions so far? Anybody out there got questions so far? Okay. Hiking. Your journey through Forbidden Lands progress from hexagon to hexagon on the map. The rule of thumb is that you can hike 2 hexagons per quarter day in open terrain. All right. And 1 hexagon per quarter day in difficult terrain. On horseback, your rate of movement increases to 3 hexagons per quarter day in open terrain only. In difficult terrain, it's still 1 hex. Okay. So short breaks, and again, this gets into the pedanticness of people. What if I want to take a break? What if I have to take a leak? What if I want to eat lunch? They got the quarter days, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Short breaks are included in the specified time, but if you stop for more than a few minutes along the way, you might not be able to travel the entire distance. The GM has the final word. So maybe I'm like, you know what? You only got 1 hex instead of 2. I have not done that because just the way the types of games that I've run so far, one-shots, this hasn't been a big deal for us. But if you start arguing with me, I'll be a dick to you. If you don't, I'll probably be like, look, man, you stop for a half hour, nobody cares. You walk for another half hour, it's still a quarter day. Let's move on. And here's your movement once again. Forced march. You can hike for 2 of the 4 quarter days of the day without a problem. If you need to, you can push yourselves and hike for a 3rd quarter day. This requires that you make endurance rolls. Failure means you suffer 1 point of damage to agility, so you take fatigue, right? and are unable to hike during the quarter day. Instead, you must rest or sleep. Like, screw this, I'm tired. I'm going to sit down. My feet hurt.
I don't care about your feet, soldier.
Well,
if you keep walking, they'll go numb. Do it.
Yeah, I just don't have the energy. Can't do it. But
well,
you can push
well, then you have the energy for food.
You can push your
back
roll
on the menu, boys.
If your endurance roll succeeds, and you know what, this is about survival, right? If your endurance roll succeeds, you can choose to leave any stragglers behind and split the group, or you can stay and wait. So there's always that.
I wonder what heathen dog would choose.
Well, apparently murder.
Yeah, I mean, leaving someone behind to possibly be captured and interrogated about our destination is not a smart move. But increasing our ration count with very little effort because he's already exhausted and whiny, that's great. Long pig. It's awesome.
If you're in a real rush, you can even attempt to hike for a fourth quarter a day. In that case, you must roll for endurance again as outlined below. Basically, you just went marching for 24 hours. But the roll gets a -2 penalty. Observe that this automatically makes you sleepy. If you go back again to a previous video, that's a condition, since you miss the necessary hour of sleep per day. Also, see darkness below. Okay. And we will get to darkness. Mounts. Horses and other mounts allow you to move faster through open terrain, but not in difficult terrain. We already talked about that. We're not going to read every word for word here. If you want to learn more about mounts, read that. So that's generally the rules behind hiking. Now, you probably want somebody to lead the way. Consider this scouting. All right. Every time you move on the map, you must appoint one person to lead the way. This individual is called the Pathfinder. And if you remember, there is a talent called Pathfinder also. Mm-hmm. The Pathfinder can lead the way and hike at the same time. I hope so. I hope you can move while you're scouting at the same, but cannot also keep watch. Usually the same person will act as Pathfinder for an entire quarter day, but nothing stops you from changing Pathfinder whenever you enter a new hexagon. So what's the point of keep the way? Every time you enter a new hexagon on the map, the Pathfinder makes a survival roll modified by the Pathfinder talent if she has it. Success means you find a viable path into the hexagon and you move on without any problems. Failure means you still enter the hexagon, but you suffer a mishap and must immediately roll on the table the next page. Hey, Heathen Dog, can you roll me 2d6 as if they're percentile dice? And we'll just hold on to the number, okay?
31.
Well, hold on to the number. We'll get to you in a moment. If means next page, okay. In darkness. Oh, okay, no, we'll do it now. So you said 31?
Mm-hmm.
So you sprained an ankle. Your Pathfinder falls or twists her ankle and suffers a critical injury equivalent to the result of 25 to 26 on the table for blunt trauma on page 197.
Yeah, so far I would lose this option. Well, no, I wouldn't say lose it. I would say lose it as necessity.
No, it's important to the game.
Yeah, I'm losing it.
Okay, well then you don't believe in survival games. So like this is absolutely. First of all, how many times do you fail when you can push your roll? You know, there are so many ways of succeeding at the game, and this is one option here. She got some torn clothes. You got lost. Those are all things that happen when you're exploring lost areas. Being railroaded from one point to the other point, you just get there. The hand waving nonsense, that's not meant for this game. It's one of the reasons why I like the game so much. At the same time, it's not a spreadsheet simulator where you're counting every little thing. If you fail your roll, something bad happens, but you're not counting. And I've played games like this where it's like, well, you only moved 12 kilometers today. Oh, you only got 8 kilometers today. Your horse is a little hungry. So now you're going to have to rest a day because of, I've seen charts this big, and this game avoids that. But it absolutely reminds you that you are in, it's a part of the game is survival. You're adventuring. This is not a tamed world. So darkness. In the dark, traveling through the wilderness is dangerous. Getting lost or choosing the wrong path is an ever-present risk. Pathfinder without night vision. Is it elves? Dwarves? Do they both get night vision? I forget. It's a -2 penalty during the dark quarter days of the day. Most people don't travel at night, but if you wanted to or if you needed to, you can. Just tell your elf to be the Pathfinder. And everyone in the group without night vision must make a scouting roll. Failure means they fall and take 1 point of damage to strength. That's just, again, not a critical injury. That just means you got some bumps and bruises, and it sucks because it's nighttime and you're human. And as somebody who actually did get lost in the woods by the Buffalo River in Arkansas at night, I can tell you this can creep you out. Heathen Dog might remember that story of me almost pushing an ex-girlfriend off a cliff.
Yeah.
That was that story.
I was almost proud of you.
Well, I would probably have been in prison because I'm sure they would have easily figured out who did it. Anyway,
Nah.
I mean, it was the secluded area in Arkansas, Buffalo River, so who knows? But anyway.
All you would have to do is climb down and hurt yourself a little bit where they land, where she landed, and then say you landed on top of her. And she cushioned your fall, and that's why you lived. You both fell. It's not your fault.
No,
you tried to save her. I mean, you can make up heroic shit. You tried to save her by grabbing her, and that's what pulled you over.
No. I would not have lived even if that was real, even if that happened. No, we're talking like it was a good few hundred feet down to the river where we were, because we were on basically the top of a mountain on this side. So I wouldn't have wanted to fall off that even as like, oh, I fell too. Oh, geez. Oh, no. Anyway, the winters are darker than summers in the Forbidden Lands. Again, if you look at Hyperborea, it has a day-by-day breakdown of seasons. Here, it's just seasonal. Winters are darker than the summers in the Forbidden Lands. In the winter, there's light only during the day, while all other quarter days are dark. Very simplest. What's that?
You think?
Well, yeah. I mean, again, it's simplicity. There's no like dusk and dawn. It's just darker day. Just move on with it. If you want to add a modifier in there, go for it. Be like, oh, this is a little dusky. This is a little dawny. Whatever. But the game itself is broken up fairly simply. In autumn and spring, there's light in the morning and the day, while the evening and night are dark. And in summer, darkness only reigns during the night. CTA, well, apparently you're up in Alaska. So back again, if you return to a hex on the map where you've been before, you don't need to make another roll to lead the way. It's only when you enter a new area. Why? Because you already been there. You know the way back. It is up to you, the players, to keep track of where you've been during your journeys. And that's what you do, you mark on the map. So, and that's one of the reasons why I want to push back against Heathen Dog a little bit when he's like, yeah, I don't know if I like this, because you do it one time. Once you've been in the area, that's a free area because you know it. Unless you burn it down or do something really crazy to it, or somebody comes in and reshapes the landscape. You've been there. Once you've made it through it, you're done, and you can walk through there relatively freely, with the exception of possible random encounters. Other than that, yeah, you can get tetanus from climbing through the junk pile. All right, keeping watch. During every quarter day of your journey, you should also designate one adventurer in your group who is responsible for scouting. Okay, well, that's leading the way, miss. Yeah, you can run into quicksand. Isn't that great?
No, it's not.
Persistent animal, a squirrel, bird. No, where's the one I like? Mosquito swarm.
Oh, God.
A large swarm of mosquitoes or gnats attacks you, driving you crazy with their biting and buzzing. They attack with 4 base dice, causing damage to empathy. It's one attack.
What? Oh my God.
They piss you off, dude.
They piss you off so much I
think you're confusing damage with injury.
No. You take mental damage from constant gnat attacks. Being annoyed, I get, but having a mechanic to actually take mental damage from a gnat attack is too much. It's dumb. It sounds dumb.
Have you ever wandered through the Amazon? I know I haven't, but
no, I haven't either.
Yeah. And there's a reason for that, because they have bugs and poisonous frogs that are like this big that can kill you. I mean, all types of crazy nonsense. I mean, remember, this is a land that is untamed. So, and again, that roll isn't something that happens every day. It's something that happens only if you fail, and only on a certain roll after that. So where are we here? The lookout can keep watch and hike at the same time, but cannot lead the way while doing so. Lookout is useful during every quarter day, even after you make camp. This is you setting up watch. No violence solves everything. You're wrong about that. So again, I think you guys are looking at this as like, oh my God, this happens every single time you move through a hex. No, just make your damn roll, and you're gonna find the right person to make the roll. I have run this for, again, I haven't done it for a long-term campaign, but I do have exploring even in my module that I wrote. And I think there's been one failure for the Find the Way, and they got through it I don't even remember what happened. It was a very minimal effort because it wasn't something that we remembered. Like I said, I think there's a failure. Might not have even been a failure. Maybe we were just talking about failures, but whatever. We'll move on. But empathy damage is just means one less die. You're pissed off. You rest for a moment, or what is the other way of healing? You have your minstrel play a song for you for a moment. You're fine. We move on. So, a lookout is useful during every quarter day after you make camp. You don't need to have a lookout if you don't want to, but without one, you have no chance to spot threats before they're upon you. Surprise! The scout comes into play when the GM rolls for a random encounter or introduces some other kind of threat. Tables for random encounters based on which type of terrain. Did it appear? Nope. Which type of terrain dominates the hexagon where the characters find themselves can be found in Chapter 7 of the Game Master Guide. I don't have it out right now. If you really, really want me to look at that, I can load it up later. The rule of thumb is that the GM rolls on the random encounter table once every quarter day. Now, by the way, just so you know about the random encounter table, it's broken down by terrain type. So only certain things can happen in one terrain type that can't happen in others. Some are creature attacks. Others are just like that quicksand thing that you saw up above, or all of a sudden it starts to rain on you and you feel grumpy, things like that. Excuse me. The rule of thumb is the GM rolls on the random encounter table once every quarter day while you hike, and once per day if you remain in the same hexagon. I actually have a house rule for that. I don't roll every quarter day. I just roll every hex. So, that's not fair. I roll every hex. It just makes it easier. What I found, at least with new players, because you know how people start gabbing on the side and like, what's going on? Do we roll for the last hex, or do we not roll for the last hex? So we just made it roll every hex, and none of the players complained about that. So I've basically doubled the opportunity of them having to make these rolls, and I never received a complaint at this point. If the random encounter is some sort of threat, the lookout makes a scouting roll to detect it. And we talked about that when we talked about skills. Make a straight roll, not an opposed roll, unless the threat is actively ambushing you. Success generally means that the lookout notices a threat while it's still at a safe distance. Remember the modifiers for range.
Right.
Then decide whether to show yourself, set up an ambush, or to sneak. And man, if you do this right, you're always setting up the ambush, and it almost becomes annoying. Oh, look, you're using tactics again. Oh, look, you have all the advantage again. Oh, again, making them maybe make a wide swath around because they realize, like, ooh, I'm not sure we're going to be able to beat those things. Ambush is an important part of the game, and good on the players for making the roll. Failing the scouting roll means the threat is up close and personal before you notice it. So, now foraging. Now we're going to talk about getting your food. You can forage vegetables, and you can hunt for meat.
Or kill the weak members of your party.
Or kill the weak members of your... Wait, no!
No, and anyone who stops walking because they're tired, their little footsies hurt, or that these gnats are bothering me so much I feel like crying. Well,
or being really angry.
You just volunteered to stock up the food stores. Good job.
Remember, you could be very angry. Empathy can go both ways.
That's true.
Start kicking trees and I hate this stop cussing. I hate this place. This stupid. Start swinging at them randomly. Like, what's your sword going to do to a gnat?
Yeah,
all right. If you are running out of provisions, you can spend a quarter day looking for edible plants and drinkable water. Oh, that's right. Water is forage also. You cannot hike at the same time. So you're either moving on or you're getting food.
Okay.
And the rationale for that is you actually have to, probably find some tracks. Like, look for some berries or wild vegetables in the area, some mushrooms, whatever. And, if you're on a path, the chances are they're either picked up or they've been pissed on. So, I'm just saying. So you cannot hike at the same time. So if you want to forage, you have to stop in the hex that you're in. We'll get to the mishaps in a moment, because yes, there are even mishaps. There's mishaps for everything. And again, the reason is because you can push your roll, and you want to have the right skills for this. Several adventurers can forage at the same time. If you want to make separate rolls, you can't forage in the same location, which means that any mishaps will affect you individually. The alternative is that one of you forages and helps her. Like we talked about the whole helping thing before. Again, if Heathen Dog, myself, and Violence Solves Everything, we all forage together, that's +2 to the roll. get the best person to do it, and then add +2 to the roll.
There's a rule though. If you're foraging, you have to at one point spin around with your arms out.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every movie, if you're foraging,
I got and you got to turn into a music. You have to sing at the same time.
Well, yeah.
You need your minstrel to do this.
If there's 3 or more people, which in your scenario there is, singing is involved.
There you go. So only the minstrel can forage.
Yep. or he can assist with sick bass tones. I don't know, something.
Mongolian throat music.
There you go.
To forage, you must choose whether you're looking for food or water. Then make a survival roll modified by the terrain type. By the way, if you're walking down a river, it'd probably say this in here. You don't have to forage for water.
No, if there's a river on the map and you hit that part of the map, you're in the river. You don't need to look for it.
It's right there.
You already found it.
So, if it doesn't say it here, I just want to be more like, I have to roll foraging even if I'm at a river. No.
You have to forage maybe for fish because that takes time. Fishing takes time, but with just getting water, it's about making a cup with your hand. It's about that hard at that point.
And hopefully you have a wine skin or water skin, whatever. Maybe even a couple of barrels in a cart.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That's
what my players did. My players bought barrels and they put them in the cart. And as soon as they got to a river, they filled it up.
Nice.
There you go. So what that meant is, how many units of water do you have? Well, that's more than just the D12 units of water, right? So they always had a place to go back and fill up their canteens, until I started saying it was getting lower. And unfortunately, because they were smarter than me, I'm running one-shots. It never came up. All right, so let's see. To forage, you must choose whether you're looking for water to make a survival roll. Modified by the terrain type. Now that goes back to page 145, which is what, 148? All right. Am I wrong? Oh, it was wrong. So here we go. So here's your forage roll. So if you're in the forest, you get a +1 to the roll. It's good to walk through the forest to forage and hunt. Lots of mushrooms, little nuts that you can get, maybe some leaves or whatever that you can eat. Leaves of 3, leave them be, But if you're in the mountains, I mean, it's hard to find the billy goats. And you can't eat dust or clay or rock. So it gets a little more difficult.
Well, you can. And you'll feel less hungry right up until the moment you die.
Yeah. The nutrition value isn't quite there.
Yeah.
But so here are the modifiers. And of course, if you have a reason to change these up, the biggest complaint I received on this one is, why is it -1 to forage in the plains? If you've actually been through the plains, they're not, in the wild plains, it's not like crap is everywhere. And you got a lot of thorn bushes and you got a lot of animals that eat the stuff. Wild bushes, or let me say, wild edible bushes aren't quite as available as they are in the forest. You can find them. It's only -1 to the roll, but it isn't quite as available. You have way too many grasses, so many tulips, things like that. Sorry, too much Dutchman on the stream the other day. Too many dandelions. There we go. But it's just a -1. But you get a +1 to hunt because you got bunny rabbits and you've got opossums, and you can shoot some birds maybe if you're really lucky. I don't know.
Squirrels and voles and moles and all kinds of stuff.
Probably some deer, and we'll actually look at that chart in a moment when it comes to hunting. But here you go. Here are the modifiers. Hills are 0.
No modifier.
So, and ruins.
Now, it's important to note that the difference between a 0 and a dash is a 0 is no modifier, but a roll is allowed. Whereas if it's a dash, no roll is allowed.
Yes.
You are not allowed to forage or hunt on the high impassable mountains. There's nothing there.
Yep.
Nothing there.
Well, high impassable mountains you can't enter.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Lake and river, you're not foraging because the water is right there. And you're not going to be looking for raspberries in the lake.
No, raspberries. There's no raspberries in the lake. Now, some people are going to say, "Oh, well, lake underneath has all kinds of like kelp-like things that you can." Shut up, dude. No one wants to eat your seaweed nonsense. All right.
Here's what I would say to that. If you want to try, I would probably treat it like mountains with a -2. Yes, you know what? Okay. Or, and this gets really pedantic, so don't listen to me right now. If you want to go with people's backstories and say, but I was a sailor and I did I know the seas and I know the lakes and the riverways and so forth, and I can do this, fine, you can roll. But again, -2 because it's really hard to find stuff there. I might do something like that. But ultimately, this is about saying, hey, there are no strawberry bushes or coconut trees or whatever in the river. All right,
Okay.
it's down here. It's 155. So foraging. All right. This roll is also modified by the time of year. Winter, you're gonna find. So here we go.
Oh, we see it right there.
Yeah. So time of year. Winter's -2. Hey, but autumn is
So
+1.
winter in the mountains, bad time for foraging.
Yeah, but
Bad
autumn is
time.
+1 because that's harvest season.
Sure.
So there you go. And unfortunately, why is spring -1? Everything's growing. It's not harvest season. That's when you plant.
Yeah. Hunting may be different, but foraging, it's not. It's sprouting. It's not edible yet. More likely than not.
Okay, we're getting the dysentery jokes, the
Yep.
Oregon Trail stuff in chat now.
Told you, I knew it was coming.
No, that's fine. In fact, that's one of the aspects. It's one of the things I like about the game. When you play it out, you come to find out that it is important, but doesn't take over the game. You can never forget about your survival elements, but it doesn't take over the game. At least it never has for me. So, when looking for food, success means that you find a number of units of vegetables in the form of edible roots, plants, equal to the number of successes you rolled. Vegetables can be cooked by a chef, which actually makes them worth more. And an inn, is it at an inn or an inn?
Or.
Yeah, or at an inn. There we go. That's what I thought. And are then turned into an equal amount of food. You can eat vegetables raw. You then consume a unit of vegetables instead of rolling your resource die for food. So that's the difference. If you eat vegetables, you consume a unit no matter what. But if you cook them, well, then you turn it into a resource die.
The vegetables will spoil within a day. That's no. That's
You
a
need to do
little
this within a day, or the vegetables will be spoiled. Yeah, that seems.
day.
I don't think I ever did that.
Yeah, I don't know of a single vegetable that once you pick it, 24 hours later it's rotten. I don't know that. I've never met one. I've never heard of one.
Oh, no. This is for if they're cooked. That's for if they're cooked.
Oh, okay. You can eat vegetables raw, then you consume. You need to do this within a day, or the vegetables will be spoiled.
So
it's unclear.
I
understand where you're coming
vegetable,
from.
Yeah,
I see it, but it's unclear.
I'll agree with you on that. But the way I would run it is you can have the vegetables for a while, but if you cook them, you got a day. And that's the advantage of cooking is their resource die. The advantage of vegetables is you can store them longer.
Right. If you cook them, more than one person can eat them.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it's just one person per unit.
Yes.
I get it. Okay.
And in the survival elements that we've done, 3 is a pretty average roll for units, but that doesn't feed everybody. Well, that's why everybody takes a day to go do this stuff. One person might fail, one person forages, one person gets meat or hunts, and one person fishes if you're in the right place for it. Look at that. The average is 3. You now have 9 units. If you have a group of 4 people, you've got yourself 2 days worth of food. Do that for a while. You're probably going to get to a city before you really have to worry about it, and then you just buy enough. So again, resource management is important. If you stop at a city and there's enough food there and you can buy, barter, trade, whatever for it, you get that barrel in your cart and this isn't such a big deal. All right, when looking for water success means you find enough drinkable water for everyone in your group to fill their water skins up to a D12 resource die. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah. If your forage roll fails, you don't find any food or water and you suffer a mishap. Again, push your roll. Push your roll. So let's go look at the mishap. Mishaps are up here, weren't they? Yeah. So go ahead and roll 1d6.
1.
Okay, poisonous. You find 1 unit of vegetables, but it is poisonous. Something you only discover during your next meal. I hate this one, by the way, because the players roll it and then like, oh, my next meal is going to be poisoned, so I don't eat it. This is one of those where the GM should probably roll.
Yeah, this is like, hey, Bob, guess what? I found some mushrooms.
Hey, red berries. Or mushrooms or red berries, right?
Yeah.
The poison in the vegetables has a potency of 3, so it's pretty easy to resist, but you're not feeling well. So, sprain ankle, torn clothes, savage animal, wolf, bear, other wild animal, feels threatens and attacks you. GM chooses an animal from the table on page 126 of the Game Master Guide. Again, that doesn't happen all the time. It only happens when you fail. and you decide you don't want to push your roll, or you still fail somehow. All right. Hunt. It's going to be very similar to Forge, right? Can't hike at the same time. Several people can do it. Same rules there.
Wait. Go back to the picture of that guy. Okay, he has failed hunting a lot. You can tell by the ribs you can see on the top of his chest.
Yep.
He's not the poster boy for surviving in the wild.
That
In fact,
picture
that
is drawn
animal
in
behind him
86.
is probably going to kill him. That's
Yeah.
a deer. It's food. No, you're weak enough. You're food.
Funny thing is that picture is drawn in 86. The game was nothing. All right. So then you roll to see what animal you find. Now, how this works is if Heathen Dog rolled 3 successes, go ahead and roll. Give me a survival roll with 4 base dice and 2 skill dice. Not the best out there,
All
but you know, you're not the actual main primary survivalist. Okay.
One success.
Okay. So now roll a d6.
4.
Okay. You either hunted or trapped, and we'll read about that in a moment, a fox.
Okay.
What that means is you have found a fox or a fox den, whatever. You can now choose to hunt it or to trap it, depending on what you have available to you.
Difficulty -1. What is that? Is that for the hunting roll? Is that for the
Yes.
killing or trapping?
Yes.
Okay.
Foxes are apparently smart. Meat, but you get 3 meat from it. And you get 1 pelt, which can be used for crafting.
Sure.
Warmth. So 3 meat, not bad. If you had rolled, let's just say for the sake of argument, you rolled 3 successes. Okay. So we're going to start from scratch. No fox now. We're going to start from scratch.
Okay.
Roll a d6.
3.
You got a rabbit. However, you can choose to re-roll because you got 3 successes. You can roll a total of 3 times. Now, here's the rule about it. You can't go back. If you get mouse and then mouse, you're stuck with a mouse.
Okay. So
But
I can roll 3 times.
Well,
But
you're stuck with a
if I
rabbit
get to
now.
the 3rd roll, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can stop at any time, but I
Yes.
take what I got now.
Yes. So right now you got a rabbit. Go ahead and roll again.
I don't like rabbits. 4. Fox.
Oh, you got a
You know
fox.
what? I had a fox already. I don't need that next day in a row. I'm too bougie for that shit.
Okay. Last
Boom,
time.
6, baby. There it
Deer.
is.
There you go. You got yourself a deer. No difficulty. You're gonna have to hunt it though. You can't trap it apparently.
That's fine.
But you get 5 meat and 3 pelts from it.
Sweet.
Now, if that had gone backward, of course, if you got deer, you're not gonna re-roll, right?
No.
But if you got the rabbit, you're like, let's do it again. Ooh, I got a crow. Damn it. Well, let's try to beat the rabbit. Oh, I got a mouse. Well, then you're stuck with the mouse.
Sure.
So
It's
now,
a whole 1 in the hand, 2 in the bush thing. When you re-roll, you're going for the 2 in the bush.
there you go. Let's go ahead and roll me a d6. So let's just say you rolled a mishap for whatever reason.
Oh, of course. 4.
Trap. You step into another hunter's trap. Could be a snare, a net, covered pit. You suffer 1 point of damage to strength and must make a move roll to get out of the trap. So
Yeah, of course, because you're the game master. This is a guy who smeared his poo all over the sticks in that pit trap. So there's going to be other things going on. I am going to get dysentery at some point in this trip.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you made your hunting roll, so you don't have to worry about it. And also remember, you can have help. You can have 3 people hunting, which makes the chance of success so much higher.
Great.
All right. So you need some form of gear to hunt. Either a ranged weapon or a hunting trap of some type, and you can buy those traps, when we look at gears. First, you must find your prey, which you did. You rolled your survival to find the prey, which you do a survival roll. Master hunting instincts can increase it. Success means you find some kind of prey, which we talked about. Roll on table above to see what you found. You found, well, we'll go with the deer. We're gonna make you lucky. You went with the deer.
Woohoo.
Roll multiple successes. You can roll multiple times. Yeah, we already did the example of that. To kill your prey, you must roll again. This time for marksmanship if you're gonna shoot it with a bow, or survival if you're gonna use a trap.
Now I'm gonna Rambo this shit. I'm gonna jump on its back and stab it in the neck.
It runs away.
It's a deer. I said I was gonna Rambo this.
I know you tried to, but it's a deer.
No. when you say you're gonna Rambo something, you just win. That's it. Rambo wins.
You're playing the solo imaginary game right now, and this is a role playing game. So in this, you have to roll the dice, and you can't outrun a deer.
John,
I got it.
Rambo breaks imagination.
Okay, you know what? This deer is made out of Chuck
I
Norris.
get it.
No, this deer is Chuck Norris.
That's troubling. To be fair, but I understand.
Yeah.
It's that, when your traditional hunting is with a ranged weapon of some kind. I get it.
Yeah, and if you want to, if you wanted to say, hey, I'm up in a tree stand, a deer's below me, and I want to land on it like
Jump
that,
down on it, yeah.
I would let you
I
make
give
that roll.
minuses to it, sure, but that looks too cool to say no.
Yeah, fair, absolutely. I would absolutely let you do that. So, maybe starting to like this game. The art in the book is really, yeah, I do like the kind of the nostalgic art. Elsa is a very limited. No, you don't. You can make it whatever you want. This is just a size. Essentially, this is size.
Yeah,
you could say this is a possum instead of a rabbit.
Yeah, would be rabbit size. And if fox, you can or no boar you can switch with wolf.
Yeah.
Or
hyena.
Crow you can switch with pheasant or turkey or whatever. Anything around the same size. You can substitute. It's fine.
Exactly. Somebody's going to write in chat, turkeys are much bigger. Okay. You get the point that he's trying to say, right?
Wild turkeys are not much bigger. You're thinking of the grown turkeys in a farm. They're fattened up. Wild turkeys are skinny as hell.
They're emaciated.
They're like chickens. No, seriously, they look like chickens, just different color.
I got you. I'm just saying somebody's going to say that.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're in a hexagon by a river or lake or by the ocean, you can fish. If you're on foot, you cannot hike while fishing.
Yep, sure.
But if you're in a boat, you can move, and we'll talk about sea travel later. Several people can fish at the same time. Why? Because you can all cast your lines from the shore or from the boat. Go ahead and let's do the mistake now, the mishap now. Go ahead and roll a d6.
Great, because there's always gonna be a mishap. I mean, you can't just fail to fish, right? You have to hook Bob in the face, accidentally put him in the frickin' water, accidentally hit him with an oar when you're trying to get him out. He drowns. His wife sues you. 4.
Correct. 4. Mosquito swarm. God. You love these mosquito swarms. He's always got a thing with bugs. I don't get it. What's up with that? Let's move on. To fish, you need fishing gear. Make a survival roll modified by the fisher talent and any gear bonus from your fishing gear. So Heathen Dogs learned a lesson. Always push your roll to succeed.
No. The lesson here is DEET. Invent heat.
Invent DEET. There you go.
Yeah, hey, seriously. If this game was anything like real life, a person walking through a wooded area at the end would be insane. Unless they had DEET. And they're fine. Emotionally, it was a beautiful walk. You feel refreshed.
And L, yes, you could find eggs with the birds. If your survival roll, let's say you got 2 successes on the survival roll.
Yeah,
you could theoretically.
You found the turkey nest or den or whatever the hell they do, and you found turkeys as well as turkey eggs.
Exactly.
So the eggs will last at least a day or two, unlike vegetables, at least a day or two, and so you'll have something to eat tomorrow. Great.
So success means you catch a number of units of fish equal to the number of successes you rolled. The fish can then be cooked by a chef and turned into an equal amount of food. You can eat fish raw. My wife's Japanese. I still went.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, that's just stupid.
You then consume a unit of fish instead of rolling your resource die for food. You need to do this within a day or the fish will be spoiled. Now, that does make sense.
That just proves sushi is the most wasteful thing you could possibly do with food in this game.
All right. Making camp. Now, why do you have to roll to make camp? Well, let's find out.
Come on, man. This is getting a little weird now, right?
When the journey of the day is over, it's time to make camp. Finding a good location for a camp, making a fire, and preparing where to sleep takes a whole quarter day, usually the evening. Only one person rolls to make camp, but others can help her. Make a survival roll modified by the quartermaster talent. If your roll succeeds, you find a sheltered and comfortable place to spend the night, where you can all rest up before the next day's journey. If your roll fails, your camp is less pleasant. You will still set up camp where you can rest and sleep, so you still can get the benefit of rest and sleep. But the GM makes a hidden roll on the mishap table below. I never really caught that it said hidden roll.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that does make more sense. The GM can spring this mishap on you anytime she wants. Go ahead and roll me a D66. Please get ants. Please get ants. Please get ants.
25.
That's not ants. Hey, where's the beginning of this chart?
I don't know. That's the end of the chart.
25.
There
Bad
we go.
campsite. Your campsite turns out to be very uncomfortable to sleep in. No one in the group gets any sleep at all until you found a new campsite. So you can rest, but no sleep.
That's bullshit.
It's all hard and so plateauy.
Absolute
And
nonsense. Come on, man. We were in the military. We've seen people sleep everywhere.
I was in the Air Force. We slept in tents and dorm rooms, and
I've
seen Marines sleep everywhere.
Yeah, Army and Marine, they'll sleep anywhere.
I saw Air Force people whine that
plenty of times. A Marine sleeping standing up freaked me out. I was wigged out seeing this thing, but it was good. It worked. So yeah, this is all bullshit.
I've seen airmen complain that they didn't have air conditioning outside.
His name was Bob.
His name was it was actually Nathan. But let's move on. The guy that was your neighbor, remember he got kicked out of my combat training? If you don't remember the story, that's fine. We'll move on. Resting by the campfire is a good opportunity to recover from damage. Read more about recovery on page 108. We already did that a couple weeks ago. If your rest is interrupted by something dramatic, you don't get the benefit of it. It's really all it is. Your activity during the quarter day no longer counts. So if you want, this is how you cannot heal critical wounds this way, but this is how you get your attribute points back. Again, like the empathy damage, you just have somebody sing you a song, you're fine. Or when you rest, you'll get it back as long as something doesn't attack you in the middle of the night. Again, most of the damage to the game outside of and I'm talking damage, not injury, in this game really doesn't matter that much unless you're fighting. Now, could fight break out at any time? Theoretically, yes, and I get that. There's always that danger. But if you're not fighting, usually fine. Remember, survival isn't based on strength. You have to sleep at least 1 quarter day per day, usually during the night, unless you're a goblin, to avoid becoming sleepy. If your sleep is interrupted by something dramatic like combat or similar activity, your activity during the quarter day no longer counts as sleep. Sleep also counts as rest, and we talked about that. I am going to actually skip the sea travel.
Yeah, because there's going to be mosquitoes in there, I'm pretty sure.
No. Go ahead and just roll the mishap. We're going to skip sea travel as a whole, but I want you to roll your mishap because you love them. Did you get 2?
2. Sudden
squall makes your boat tilt suddenly. One important item falls into the water. The GM decides what it is.
Of course it is.
It was your dwarf.
Yes, Bob. Bob fell in the water.
Bob the dwarf fell in the water.
Oops. Wait. GM, you said it was supposed to be important.
Yeah, okay. The dwarf didn't fall in the water, but his ale did.
Oh, okay. Well, no. Then 2 things are in the water because he's jumping in after that ale.
Hey, that was a choice, though. I just said one thing. He decided to go down. All right. Explore. When you stop at an adventure site, and that's what so dungeons and caves and, the random encounters, so forth, they're called adventure sites in this game. So a module will have adventure sites in it, if that makes sense. So, when you stop at an adventure site to explore it, your journey is interrupted. Exploring an adventure site can take anything from a quarter day up to several days. This is your dungeon crawl. This is just saying that it's called explore in this game, okay?
Okay.
Sometimes you might have to take a break or rest or sleep while exploring. Yeah, you cannot rest or sleep during the same quarter day as you explore, because you're not going to be moving forward while you're sleeping. Unless you're sleepwalking, then you're probably dead.
The mosquitoes got you.
The mosquitoes got you. So that is it. I know I saw a couple comments and they thought he was going to get really, really, really pedantic. No, it just makes it meaningful. And again, Heathen Dog didn't fail a roll. I just made him roll on the mishaps so you guys could see what they were. He didn't fail his survival rolls. And the people in my group that I've run one-shots on, once they figured out what they were doing, didn't fail these rolls either. And I always do a little...
We have some comments.
Yep, please do.
The first one is just for the stream. Hey, you madman, finished 24-hour stream and now you're doing it again? That's crazy. It is crazy. We shouldn't be here.
Yeah, well...
I agree.
Heathen Dog was actually telling me I should phone this in. Was it on Thursday or whatever? You're like, you should probably just phone this in, or call it.
Put in the idea out there that the Sunday stream may not happen. Just if it does, you look like a hero, and if it doesn't, hey, I warned you. Yeah, but Player character, I want to use my fishing skill. GM, for the last time, Bob, you're in the middle of the desert. Yeah. That was the part where you can't fish unless you're in a.
Yeah, I mean, I get why they put rules like that in the book. You have to, because some idiot is going to do that. Exactly what Nerdy Ogre said there. So they've got to look dumb. I just find them silly because, of course, I'm the game master, and I'm going to say no. Unless you found an oasis or something, no, you're not fishing in the desert.
Sure. And Elp is print the map and just marker, pen it out. Well, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do it. If you don't want to go to the store to buy a new $5 map with stickers or whatever, then yeah, sure, just get a PDF and print it out. That's fine. Whatever. Either way will work. Michael Mammoth says, "How are these guys?" Oh, okay, that's more we're awesome and but
So I went to bed after the 24-hour live stream, which ended at midnight Central Time. I ended up talking with Sean and the guys for about 15 minutes after the fact, and then I was like, I've got to go. What actually took more time was ending the campaign, the 24-hour charity stream campaign, was ending the campaign and making sure I had all my notes down for, like, hey, thank you, yada yada, and that took until about 1-ish. And then I went to bed, and I was pretty hopped up on caffeine, so I didn't fall asleep right away. But when I did fall asleep, then I woke up at 6 a.m.
That's rough.
I know.
That's not a lot. Robin says, feels like a TTRPG version of Oregon Trail. I told you.
Jesus.
There's a chart of diseases where you get infected with dysentery. No, I didn't find any dysentery. I was shocked. But apparently in Forbidden Lands, dysentery equals mosquito.
So Heathen, can you jump out for a second? Because I'm gonna rant, and I'm gonna do this intentionally. Okay. All right. If y'all don't want survival mechanics in your game, you're a bunch of pussies. Okay? This game includes survival mechanics. Now, you might be joking. You might be just trying to get under my skin, but I'm in a bad mood because I got no sleep and I did a 24-hour live stream. Stop whining about the survival mechanics. Adventuring is hard work. It's not something you just stumble across like derp derp derp. It is an untamed wilderness out here. We kind of covered that in the first episode. If you don't like it, you can always take it out. You can always change it. It's not as bad as it seems. I intentionally had him do the mishaps. Yes, I'm grumpy. Understand that this game includes survival. I like it. I like it a lot. If you actually roll them up and play it, you will find out that it is fun and it can be interesting. Well, it is interesting and can be fun, is the way I should say. If you just want to bebop from one city to the next, go play Forgotten Realms. Or play a modern game. And that is my rant. Because I'm not allowed to say poo-poo words, and I already did. And Heathen Dog can come back now.
Okay.
No, L, you're wrong. They're not hex called gimmicks. They're actually survival mechanics.
Okay. Nerdegger says, from what I have been told, is that the Air Force idea of roughing is a hotel into 3 stars.
Yeah. That is
true. For the most part, sure. Grant you that. But people don't know this, but the Air Force does have special forces equivalent.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because Rangers are Rangers are always in first.
Nope, they're not.
It's almost always CCT.
Yeah. Combat controllers, man. They go in first. That's what they do. All right, and
I wouldn't want to be one though. They went through it. They go through a lot of work.
No, you don't. I don't know. I'm not. But the thing is, I really got angry with the emotional damage. Now, if you took people of the now and put them in Forbidden Lands and told them to move overland, emotional damage would be a thing. It would be a definite thing. But these people are hardier stock. They live a life of danger every day. Emotional damage from gnats, screw you, game. It's not in mine. Emotional damage, suck it. And anyone who starts crying on an overland trek like this gets left behind.
So imagine that the swarm of mosquitoes, using D&D terms, is like insect swarm. Not the one that does a point of damage and you die, like the 9th level or 7th level one, whatever it is. We're talking the lower level one that's really obnoxious and upsetting. So what survival mechanics apply in the dungeon? Well, how many quarter days are you there? When you're in the dungeon, you have to eat 1 unit of food per day. Do you have enough food as you go in there? Again, let me remind folks, You can buy barrels. You can buy a wagon. You can buy stuff at a city. You can barter and trade. Remember the social mechanics in the game. You can do all of that. This is emergency situation stuff, or lack of planning, or game master messing with you, saying that you just escaped from prison and now you're out in the wilderness. This, you know, was it Elder Scrolls?
Skyrim this thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. The Elder Scrolls series, right? Yeah, that's what this is for. Lack of preparation, or somebody stole all your crap, or whatever. And what's going to be fun is we're going to look at the stronghold, and we're going to find out how you can actually prepare yourself. Great way to segue me into the next one, where you can start becoming prepared for this. And after a certain point, survival, I don't want to say it becomes meaningless, but becomes fairly easy. Now, to be fair, full disclosure, I haven't run a game this long. I've done one-shots. But if you look through what you can do with your stronghold, barring it being attacked and having your crops burned or whatever.
Fair.
I think the mosquitoes failed sanity roll from Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, I mean, don't think it was like 5 bugs. It isn't like you just walk through a gnat swarm like I do when I go on my walk, you know. It's like, go away. No, this is like, there is magic in the world. Remember, what is the blood mist? It's actually demons.
So are gnats and mosquitoes, apparently.
So are gnats and mosquitoes.
As long as you know, you can prepare.
Yeah.
Like I said, you know, you have to invent the class of pharmacist. And
hey, if you play my module, I may have included something like that in there.
Go. And then you invent Deep Woods Off, and you're fine.
Don't make me grumpy during the next segment, because I'm not talking heathen dog. I'm talking to everybody.
Well, strongholds are something I really like, and you generally don't. So I'm happy to hear what you think of this.
We'll find out in the next video.